Hello, in today's voiceover recording, we're going to be talking about the political process. Um, so, we've talked a lot about citizenship and the founding documents to get us to where we are today, and we are going to figure out, well, just where are we today, right? Where are we today? We've done a lot of history so far with the founding documents. We just finished up the citizenship unit about what does it mean to be a good person in the society that we live in. But now we're going to really identify like what it is we live in today. So it should be pretty good, pretty good. All right. So as you may already know, there are two major political parties in the United States today. We have the Democratic Party on the left, quite literally, as in represented by the donkey, but sometimes they're also referred to as the left in general, being the left-hand side of the political spectrum. We'll get into what that means a little bit later on in the unit. On the right, we have the Republicans. They are often referred to as being as the right-hand side of the political spectrum, represented by the elephant. There are other parties. We're going to talk about a couple of them. However, these are the two major parties. For example, Donald Trump was the presidential candidate for the Republican Party in the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton was the Democratic candidate for the presidency in that same election. So why are there parties? What is the point? So parties are essentially groups. Before they're called parties, they're called factions, right? So you could think of it that way. And really, they're a good way for regular citizens to participate in politics. Um, and they do a few things. Here's what political parties do. You can see on our screen now. They recruit and nominate candidates. So a political party would oftentimes decide who they think would be a good fit for the office. The office for the election. So it could be anything from, you know, um, state legislature to, um, at the federal level, being a congressman or a congresswoman, and even the presidency, right? So they recruit these candidates and then they nominate them. They say, this is the person we want to run as our candidate. They also try to educate people on what their campaign, what matters to them, right? So someone's campaign, that is their bid, so to speak. And the party's job is to educate the people about certain issues. They help candidates win elections, right? They can do this via fundraising, um, or get out the vote campaigns, or a variety of other means. And they also serve as a watchdog, right? That's why I have that picture off to the right of the cartoon dog. They're a watchdog. They monitor actions of office holders. Typically, at the federal level anyway, the watchdog party is the opposite party of whomever is in the presidency. So, for example, right now, Donald Trump, the Republican, uh, or is a Republican president, so the Democratic Party is the watchdog, right? They're essentially looking for him to overstep his bounds. And when Barack Obama was the president as the Democratic, or as a member of the Democratic Party, it was the Republicans that held this role. All right, so those are the four things that um, political parties do. So while the political parties are different, right? They both do kind of the same things. They both organize themselves and people to try and win elections. They both decide what issues matter to them, right? They influence public policies. That means they influence what issues get talked about and they get they influence how these issues get resolved. The Democrats reflect the liberal side or the left side of the political spectrum, and the Republicans are typically more conservative, right? More small government, the right-hand side of the political spectrum. However, they both typically appeal to the middle, right? So if we have this spectrum here, there's a town here on the left. Let's call that the Democratic Party. There's this city off here to the right. Let's call that the Republican Party. So what I'm trying to depict here is that if a party wants to appeal to a large audience, if they want a large number of people to agree with them, they don't want to come off super extreme, right? They don't want to come off being all the way over here or come across as being all the way over here, because they want the people in this middle section to be on their side. So when I was in college, one of my professors brought up this analogy, right? Brought up this analogy of there being two cities and a pizza place. Two cities and a pizza place. And he said, just like I did, that this city over here will be the Democratic Party. This city right here will be the Republican Party. And he said, if you are a pizza owner, right, pizza place owner, and you want to sell as many pizzas as you can, where are you going to put this pizza place, right? Also, let's assume this is a perfect world in which there are no other pizza places. He said that you would want to put the pizza place right in the middle of the two towns, because that way everyone from town Democrat over here would probably go to that pizza place, and then even some people from town Republican would go to that pizza place. You get the best of both worlds. You're getting audiences from two separate ones. But if you moved the pizza place too close to either city, you're only going to get people from one city going rather than people from both cities going, right? So if that doesn't make sense to you, here's what you need to know. You need to know that both parties define themselves in a way so they could get the most support possible by not being super extreme, right? So they typically want to be somewhere in the middle. The Democratic is slightly to the left of the middle, so their pizza place is probably right here where my mouse is going around. And the Republican Party's pizza place is probably more accurately right here. And then this depiction, this picture is the ideal center, right? All right, very good. So you're saying, Mr. Robillard, that's great and all, but I hate the Democratic Party and I hate the Republican Party. Well, good news for you. You have options, and these options are called third parties. Some examples of third parties are the Green Party, the Constitution Party, the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party actually polled a lot of votes, relatively speaking, in the last presidential election, Gary Johnson. But the key thing you need to know about third-party candidates is that, or third-party candidates and the third parties in general, is that they almost never win anything. They almost never win anything. And if they never win, then what's the point? Why even have a third party? Well, third parties serve, a good, they provide a good way to help exchange ideas and introduce new ideas, especially for a single issue. So let's take the Green Party, for example, typically, as the name suggests, leaning towards more environmentally friendly policies. The Green Party will promote that agenda, and sometimes a major party will adopt it. right? So they're still being active in politics, even though they're probably never going to win a presidential election. They also can serve as a sort of spoiler. They take votes away from the other candidates. So if I'm going to generalize here, Gary Johnson from the Libertarian Party, he received almost 4.5 million votes last election. Typically, libertarians are conservative, and the most popular conservative party is the Republican Party. So if you take all his votes, if Gary Johnson didn't receive a single vote, and they all went to Donald Trump, he not only would have won the electoral vote, but he would have won the popular vote also. Jill Stein, on the other hand, for the Green Party, she received almost 1.5 million votes. If that party didn't exist, if she didn't run, Hillary Clinton would have had 1.5 million more votes to her popular vote total. While there really aren't too many examples of this right now, historically, third parties have revolved around a single personality. Teddy Roosevelt had the Bull Moose Party in the past, so it was only popular because it was him that was heading it, right? He was kind of a celebrity, so to speak. So we've talked about Democratic Party, we've talked about the Republican Party, but what's the difference between the two, right? A lot of people say, well, they all want the same thing anyway, it doesn't really matter, they're all the same. And they're not. Because they have a different platform, right? Each party has a different platform. And all a platform is a set of stances or opinions on a set of issues. So if there's a set of issues, the party will go ahead and say what they think would be the best course of action, and that is their platform. And when they're campaigning, when they're running ads, when they're making speeches, and when they are putting out press releases, they're trying to express their ideas on their platform. And the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they have very different platforms, right? If you haven't already gotten to this segment yet, you're going to be doing more research on the two political parties, and you'll be able to identify some of their pieces of their platform. So definitely be paying attention to that if you're interested in knowing what the difference between the Republican and the Democratic Party is. All right, as always, you can always rewind this video if you need to, and raise your hand to ask me any questions. I'd be happy to help. All right, I hope you enjoyed.